Hi, I'm Jasmine Nicole. Welcome to the Motivational Mystic, a space for authentic, higher conscious conversations to motivate, inspire, and empower. Thanks for listening. Each week, I'll drop a new conscious raising episode. Let's dive in. You are responsible for taking care of and looking out for yourself. No one is coming to save you. Everyone will have trials and tribulations, struggles in life. Those tough experiences are growing pains everyone will go through in their life journey. It's important to stay level-headed when going through chaotic moments in life. Keeping your mind, emotions, and energy balanced during those tough times will help you navigate those storms better, so you are not getting in your own way. Strive to be a sovereign individual, a sovereign being. Sovereign people are not looking to be saved. They're not looking for some external savior to rescue them, because they know they already embody everything they need to persevere, to thrive, to withstand any trials or tribulations life throws their way. When you are a sovereign being, you are simply not looking for anyone to save you. I think looking for some external savior to swoop in and fix things when things get tough is indoctrinated in people at an early age. Looking for someone to save you, looking for someone to help you, obviously, in certain instances, is necessary. If you're stranded in the middle of the ocean and there's a boat that can save you, clearly you'll need and want the help. But just in terms of when life gets hard, or when you're in a period of uncertainty or confusion, don't be so quick to look for someone outside of yourself to fix it first. Look at everything we've encountered over the last couple of years. It's 2026 as I'm recording this, and over the last couple of years, we've experienced a lot as a society. From a pandemic to the threat of nuclear war at one point, those systems and those people we look to for guidance and leadership during global unrest have even shown that they're not 100% trustworthy or really in control based on the Epstein files that were recently released. And I'm not one who will ever make this a political podcast, but I'm always going to keep it real and tell it like it is. Politicians from both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are listed in those files. And that shows that even the people some may admire and look to for leadership, help, and understanding, they can't fully be trusted. And it's like a hierarchy of puppeteering going on where you have someone at the top clearly working on behalf of someone or something, just honeypotting and blackmailing all of these people, from billionaire businessmen to bankers to celebrities, athletes, all the way down to politicians. All these people either have some level of influence or authority or the gift of influence. It just shows people that you can't really put all your trust, you can't outsource your free will to other people, places, and systems who may not have your best interest at heart, to self-serving people who really only care about themselves or whoever they are obligated to answer to. Within coming to a place of acknowledgement and acceptance of that, I think it's normal for people to have that holy crap moment of who can I trust or what in the world is going on here? But it's not really about the who you should trust. It's the you should trust, you know? You can trust you. Don't look for that external savior to guide you out of unfortunate or confusing situations, because they may not have your best interest at heart. Nobody is going to have your best interest at heart better than you will. I think if anything, we can all learn that from the last 6 years of this decade, that you can't quit on yourself. You can't look for anyone to be your savior. You are responsible for saving yourself. The last 6 years of this decade have shown that to us. You have to look out for number one. The people at the top aren't always going to do that. No one is going to look out for your best interests better than you will. The people we look to for leadership and guidance seem to only be looking out for themselves. Sometimes that may even be at the detriment of the people that they have influence and authority over. This notion of looking for an external savior to save us is indoctrinated into us pretty early in life. When you're a child, it's mom and dad that comes in and saves you and picks you up when you fall. Or you have some type of parental or authority figure giving you guidance, which you need during your adolescence, of course. But once you become an adult, I think a lot of people struggle with recognizing that they have to make that cognitive shift to become accountable for picking their own self up when they fall. You have to be the one to withstand whatever life throws your way. But a lot of people don't break out of that adolescent mentality of looking for a savior as they become adults. Granted, some people may break out of it at certain points in their life. Some people might break out of that mentality a little sooner than others, but not everyone does. Not everyone breaks out of that mentality. So, I think at certain points in time, some people just wake up out of needing a savior, needing to be saved from their problems, and aligning with that victim mentality. When I say victim mentality, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but if you are someone looking for a savior to get you out of something, then obviously, in that scenario, you are the victim being saved by the savior. The opposite of a savior complex would be a victim mentality. So if you are looking for a savior, you are putting yourself in a position to be a victim, needing saving. It's important to put in the effort. It's important to put in the work to break out of that victim mentality. Because a person with a victim mentality is looking for someone to pick them up when they fall, to save them when they fail. But sometimes those situations in life are meant to happen that way. So you learn the lesson from that experience and come back stronger with whatever you decide to do next. Resiliency. So it's vital not to falter into developing a victim mentality. When you're a child, it's different. It's more of an adolescent mindset. Mom and dad or authority figures are supposed to save you. However, as you become an adult, the adolescent mindset can develop into a victim mentality if a person is not mentally and emotionally evolving as they become an adult. So really breaking out of that mental prison, and that's what it is, a mental prison, of thinking you need someone outside of yourself to save you, is necessary. You are competent enough to make your own decisions, evaluate information with your own eyes, and come to a sensible decision with your own brain. You should be able to do these things without distortion or much distraction. We're all capable of doing this. So trust yourself. Develop that relationship with yourself so you are trusting and becoming a more sovereign individual. A sovereign individual, a sovereign being, is so in alignment with their mind, body, and soul that they are the "this too shall pass" mindset people. They look at failure or a setback as a lesson. They don't dwell on it and think it's the end of the world. They're like, that didn't work out. What can I take from this to do better for next time so I don't make the same mistake or I don't have the same outcome? They have resiliency. People really have to start taking accountability for themselves. And that's what sovereign people do. They take accountability. They don't need anyone outside of themselves telling them what to think, what to do, what to believe, what they can and cannot do. They've broken out of that mental prison of needing someone to save them when life gets hard. A lot of times, if anything, sovereign beings are the savior for others. People admire and can see their strength. You can see that they are resilient people, so they're not looking for anyone to save them. They're not looking for anyone to save them, and with that comes a sense of liberation and freedom. When you can live life knowing you may not have all the answers figured out, but you are perfectly okay with just figuring it out along the way, not needing to know all the answers right away, even if people perceive that you do. So what if you don't? With your mindset, your mentality, even if you don't have what you want or everything figured out now, in time, you will. That information will reveal itself to you over time. To embrace true liberation like that, where you don't have to combat that mental constraint of, if I fail, does this make me a failure? Victim mentality stuff. I'm just really starting to see this sentiment a lot on social media as well. A lot of people feel burnt out. A lot of workplaces are wanting a lot more out of people, but giving a lot less to their work staff to keep them motivated. There's also the threat of AI as well, eliminating a lot of jobs. A whole lot of high-paying jobs at that. And it's only going to advance. So people are stressing out and looking for help. There's a lot that people are facing and dealing with over the last 6 years. Let's be honest. I've even noticed people in my personal life how much of a toll mentally the pandemic had on them, and they're still trying to get back to their former self. Threats of nuclear war and people losing trust in our government and elected officials, their leadership, now that these Epstein files have been released. People are questioning everything. Threat of technology taking over their job, increased cost of living, home ownership being out of reach for many now. And I get it. People want answers. I'm a millennial, and it's interesting, especially in America, where we are a very overeducated population, but economically pretty far behind compared to our parents, who did a lot more with a lot less at the same age that we are now. Our parents were able to do a lot more and acquire a lot more at the same age we are now, or maybe even younger. So, how we're a more educated population, but the wages aren't keeping up with the pace of inflation? Yeah, I'd have questions too. So yeah, I get it. People feel burnt out, they're stressed out, and starting to become hopeless with all the constraints we're facing in our society today. But, unfortunately, that is just the reality of this game of life. These are the levels and the storylines. It's up to you how you want to combat it, how you want to tackle each level, each round. Do you want to defeat it or let it defeat you? 2020 is shaping up to be the decade of clear vision, where things that were previously hidden, maybe even hidden in plain sight, are now being seen. They're being revealed. Not only on a global scale with the release of these Epstein files, but I'm even having conversations with people in my everyday life who are discussing family secrets coming to light and deceptive people who usually go undetected now being exposed. So this is a decade of transparency, truth, and transformation. It's time for a lot of people to just be real with themselves, where they come to that acknowledgement of, hey, maybe a part of me does identify with having a victim mentality, because when things don't go right in my life, I'm either looking for someone to blame or something to save me, rather than just taking it on the chin and seeing what it's meant to teach you. I also think temperance is an important factor to add into the equation as well. Not everything requires your reaction. It may just require your acknowledgement. There is a level of emotional intelligence that goes into breaking out of the victim mentality. You have to be honest by first acknowledging you have it, and then also dealing with the feelings that it brings up in you that requires temperance. Because you may not like some of the feelings that it stirs up in you and rises to the surface once you come to that acknowledgement. That's one of the many aspects that goes into escaping the victim mentality and becoming a sovereign being. Temperance, emotional intelligence, truth, and authenticity. A victim mentality does have a negative connotation to it because it is looked at as a negative thought pattern. Maybe negative isn't the best word to use. Let's say it's a low vibrational thought pattern. So typically, low vibrational people identify with it. When you're trying to get out of that mental prison, temperance is needed to get out of the victim mentality. Again, because it's going to bring up a lot of thoughts and emotions to the surface that you have to let go of. You're going to have to get over those thoughts of, no one's coming to save me. You might get in your emotions about it. Nobody cares. Thoughts might start turning negative. Why me? Why is my life so hard? No one's life is easy. You're not special. It is what it is. All of these things are going to come up, but they're coming to the surface for you to acknowledge and release. Acknowledging those thoughts, which are probably in your subconscious mind that are coming to the surface, gives you some insight on the tone of your inner dialogue, how you speak to yourself. It may be more pessimistic than optimistic, which makes sense because identifying with a victim mentality is a pessimistic way of living. Once you come to the acknowledgement, no one's coming to save you, and things may not always work out according to plan, all these emotions may bubble up where temperance is needed. But once you get over that hurdle, then the path is clear to really focus your attention on things that are in your control. Utilizing your resources, your best capabilities to build the life that you want without thinking you need someone to come and save you if it doesn't work out. That's just life. Things are not always going to go perfect. That is one of the roles of life people, rich or poor, encounter. So there's no use of crying crocodile tears over it when it happens. It is what it is. However, a sovereign individual knows all of this and embodies these principles where temperance is needed to weather the storm. Focus is required to execute your plans. Even knowing when to pull back and engage in self-care and making sure you're maintaining your inner peace is important. It's also a very important trait of a sovereign individual because you cannot give too much of yourself to people. Self-care is a very important trait of a sovereign individual because you cannot give too much of yourself to people. You still have to leave that space, that inner sanctuary of yours, at peace. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself 24/7, not everyone else. Your inner dialogue, your inner feelings, your inner emotions, that is you experiencing it. So wouldn't it serve you better if those things were more optimistic? Becoming sovereign rather than pessimistic and identifying with a victim mentality that will always have you in lack, looking externally for something or someone to love and look out for you better than you will do for yourself, that doesn't make any sense, right? Only you are going to have your best interests at heart. So yeah, it takes effort to break out of a victim mentality and step into becoming a sovereign being. But the liberation that comes from finally stepping into that higher, more evolved version of yourself is worth it. So rather than, just being on the edge of your seat, waiting for the other shoe to drop, because clearly this decade has been one that's been a roller coaster, up and down emotions, but just learning what you can from what we've experienced so far, that, no one is coming to rescue you from your life. No one is coming to rescue you from your problems. And you have to be accountable, right? Learn from the things that we have experienced and been exposed to and course correct. Make up your own mind, have your own opinions. Don't always look to go with what the consensus says, because we've had very good examples over this decade where that may not always be the best course of action, right? But at the end of the day, you can't say someone lied to you or misled you when you're following your internal thoughts, opinions, feelings, and assessment of things going on around you, right? Get back in touch with yourself. Not just out here being willy-nilly and in a delusional state of manufactured bliss. Well, if I have this and this, then life should be perfect. Like, things are not going to be perfect. Things are never going to be perfect. That's just the reality of this life. You're going to have peaks, valleys, highs, lows, and you learn throughout it all. But the emphasis I want to really bring attention to is that it's up to you to navigate through those peaks and valleys, those highs and lows. You can't always look for external validation, external leadership, external even information at some periods and points to put you on the right path, to guide you where you need to be, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone is looking out for number one. So, I think if anything, I hope as a society, people are finally waking up and seeing you have to look out for number one. And in theory, people think they're doing that. But, when you're looking for elected officials, you're looking for what a celebrity or an athlete is doing and thinking, oh, if I do that too, then I'm on the right track. Not always necessarily the case, right? These people are flawed as well. And, you just want to make sure that you're trusting yourself above anything first. And then just taking the information that is being provided to you, using your own mind, your own eyes, and making the best decision for you. And that is something that sovereign beings do very well, right? Despite anything, they always listen to their self first. And I think it's an important message to walk away with. Be sure you're always listening to yourself first. Well, that's all I had for today, everyone. Until next time, goodbye.